we need you at the station.
So we could hear all about the Crystal Empire and find out if you brought us one of the crystal snow globes that they sell at the train station.
How did you know about the snow globes?
Ooh, so cool.
Lucky guess?
Hello everyone, I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of my My Little Pony Vlogs for Season 3. Today, I'm talking about Just for Sidekicks, written by Corey Powell. Not a lot to say on this episode. I mean, it has an interesting concept behind it, but at the same time, it has a couple of things that prevent this interesting concept from actually becoming something good in this episode. I don't think this episode is bad by any stretch of the word. I think it's okay, but let's get into it before, I give my reasonings before that. The episode basically starts with Spike basically baking a jewel cake, which goes to the idea of Spike being smart enough to make a cake! Seriously, Spike at your service. You have this episode proving that he can indeed cook and stuff like that, or at least bake, and yet you have him in another episode not being able to bake. But, of course, Spike can't control himself, and he eats all of the jewels that he was going to use for the jewel cake. So he ends up feeling, kind of regretful of himself for not having the self-control. So then Fluttershy comes to talk to Spike about a favor that she wants, and then we find out that the main six are going to the Crystal Empire for a special event, and Spike was not invited. What? Okay. Why? Why wasn't Spike invited to go to the Crystal Empire with them? I mean, wasn't Spike the reason, he helped save the Crystal Empire? I know people try to say he didn't really do much to save the Crystal Empire, but nevertheless, he was the one who delivered the Crystal Heart after Twilight got captured in the Crystal Empire episode. So, why wouldn't Spike be invited? I think, bringing Spike would be a cool thing. Twilight, why are you being so mean? I don't know why you're being so mean. So, of course, Fluttershy offers to give Spike a jewel if he'll watch over Angel while Fluttershy is at the Crystal Empire. Which he decides to agree, and then he comes up with the idea, you know what? All my other friends have pets that they need taken care of, and they might be willing to give me gems to do it. So he goes to all members of the main six and begins, telling them, oh, I would be willing to watch over your pets, but of course, I need compensation. So he gets all the gems from every member of the main six, and they all warn him on, on ways to basically take care of the pets, but I think we all know where it's going to lead at this point, because, let's face it, Spike doesn't care. So when the main six leaves, the pets basically start going chaotic, Spike gets hit in the head by a tortoise, and Angel Bunny somehow gets away. So basically, Spike is going all around Ponyville trying to find Angel Bunny, and then finally does, where he's with the Cutie Mark Crusaders. And this is what leads to some of the, problems that people have with the episode. One thing that I do like is the pet dynamics. Throughout the episode, we do see that the pets interact with each other in certain ways, and I kind of wish that we got just a pet-only episode, because that would have been fun to watch. I mean, everybody else brought that point up, saying, you know what, it would have been good if we got a pet-only episode. And you know what? I'm agreeing with that. Considering, the dynamics that we see with the pets, I mean, look at this scene when, they were fawning over Angel Bunny, and Angel Bunny decided to blow a raspberry at the other pets, and then the other pets were just looking at Angel like... It kind of shows that there's a cool dynamic between all six pets. And that is something interesting I would love to see if they were to ever make it into an actual episode. However, Spike decides to pawn off the pets to the Cutie Mark Crusaders so he can make his jewel cake. But of course, the CMC, Apple Bloom calls him out, basically saying, I know for a fact that Applejack gave you a gem to watch over Winona, which means, and then asks for a gem so she can, help the pets with toys and stuff like that. However, this pretty much goes nowhere, and Spike doesn't get the gem back because they wasted it on... Equestria's technology is flipping weird. And pretty much what happens throughout the rest of the episode is that Spike is just going through multiple events. Like, he runs into Socorro, who basically donates one of his gems to Charity. Then he runs into Granny Smith, who basically is bribed by Spike for one of his gems. And then we run to the train, where Spike has to use a gem to pay for the train ticket. And then while on the train, Spike has to give another gem to basically, for compensation for knocking out the food cart. And then Spike loses the final gem at the final part of the episode with, his last-ditch effort to, to keep himself from getting busted. The thing with this episode is that there really isn't much to talk about. I mean, we can talk about the pet dynamics, but there really isn't too much when it comes to the pet dynamics, because Spike, all he keeps trying to do is figure out ways to get rid of the pets and not really try to care for them, which can be seen as very disheartening, especially for me, since I am a pet owner. I mean, remember, guys, I've said this would make a best pet win. I hated the fact that Rainbow Dash was so belligerent and otherwise to the other pets that she was going to possibly get. So yeah, I'm willing to say the same thing about Spike here. He only is watching over the pets so he can get gems. He doesn't care about the pets whatsoever. Which does bug me to a severe extent, unfortunately. But like I said, moving back in line, we see Angel on the train, which, Spike gets on the train thanks to the CMCs. They get Angel, but unfortunately the train is heading straight to the Crystal Empire. Then, of course, like I said, knock out a food cart, Spike loses a gem. Then the CMC want to go exploring in the Crystal Empire, but Spike is trying to stop them, saying, no, we're staying on this train, we are going back to Ponyville. And then Angel, he spots Fluttershy and decides to kick Tank into the door so he can run out the door and basically get to Fluttershy. This is when Spike uses his final gem to basically cause a bit of a distraction so none of the main six could see the event. And Spike ended up grabbing Angel and bringing him back on the train. However, the main six start coming into the same cart as Spike and the CMC and the pets. So they duck under the chairs, and basically they're trying their best not to get spotted or to make too much noise, because otherwise they'll get caught. And Angel has this devious idea of basically hitting the bottom of the chair so he can get Spike in trouble. Can I say something right here, right now? ANY brought this up when I was in the Season 3 live stream, and I'm going to bring it up as well. This moment tries to make Spike out to be the bad guy, and makes Angel out to be the good guy. And you want to know what? They're right. I mean, think about it. Spike has not been trying to basically do anything with these pets. He's been trying to pawn them off. He's been trying to, get rid of them by any means necessary. He didn't take care of them. He didn't do anything that the main six asked him to. In many cases, this is a twisted sense of karma that he was getting, but I will say this, at least Spike learned his lesson at the end of the day. So I'm not going to give too much slack. But then again, then the episode, I don't know, the episode tries to make Angel out to be the bad guy, when in reality, I think he's not being a bad guy. I think he's in the right with his actions. And Spike out to be the good guy, even though he's really, the bad guy in this situation. It's confused. This episode is confused, I think is the best word. And so we move on to basically them getting back home at the same time as the main six, because remember, they were on the same train. And Spike pretty much learns his lesson about, he should have, tried to care for these pets instead of just trying to pawn them off and stuff like that for his own selfish needs. And then pretty much we get one more twisted sense of karma with this scene.
It really, really does.
Well, I don't know what to say there. I think that was... I know ANY would say that's not deserved. I would believe it's deserved. I guess that's just a matter of perception. And that's just for Sidekicks. I know you're about to say, wow, you got through this episode quick. That's the problem. There's not a lot going on in this episode if you really think about it. This is another episode I will at least say is okay to meh. And the reason why I say that is because there's not a lot going on in this episode. While there are some cool pet dynamics with the way that the pets interact with each other, there just aren't enough pet dynamics to keep me from saying I would love to rewatch this episode. I mean, that's just the thing. We see, some of the pets interacting with each other, like Tank and Opal. We see, Rainbow Dash trying to explain about, Tank and stuff like that. Though that joke kind of gets run to the ground in many cases. We get some of the aspects with, like, Aloysius and Angel Bunny in some cases, and that's really about it. We don't really get much pet dynamic compared to, what people wanted. I don't remember, but I believe someone told me that there is a comic that's pet-based, and I don't know if that's any good. If that is a comic and it's any good, let me know. Maybe I'll go read that, because honestly, this episode should have been just about the pets. This episode should have been just about the pets, and that's just being honest. And that's just the thing, like, okay, I'll give Spike this. He's not bad in this episode. He is not bad in this episode. Spike, this is definitely one of his more manageable episodes, because, let's face it, compared to Spike at Your Service, this one's alright. This one's okay. I mean, Spike is not out of character in any way, and he's not seen, and he's not put into a state that you would be like, stop it! He's just kind of like that, I guess is the best way to explain it. So, not much to say in this episode. I just think this episode's okay. I don't think it's a bad episode by any stretch of the word. I just think it's okay. There's not a lot going on in this episode. I wish we got more pet dynamic, and that's really about it. I think, and the moral at the end, okay, I'm okay with it. Especially with Spike learning his lesson, so, hey, it's an okay episode. I'll say it like that. However, there's one thing I need to bring out. The next episode, Games Ponies Play, and this episode are linked. And I know you're about to ask me, how is that? I'll get into it when I talk about Games Ponies Play. So until next time, I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, guys, take care.